Hi folks, Robert Mantell here again with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialist. Today I want to talk about how to break free from the kind of pulling that's pretty much the predictable kind. You know, the kind that every time you show up there, your job or sitting down to do your homework or sitting down in front of the television, you can pretty much expect that pulling's gonna happen there. And what do you do about something like that? How do you finally put an end to habitual hair pulling in a routine context like these? That's what we're going to talk about today. Stay tuned. For about the past 10 years, my wife and coaching partner, Glay, and I have worked with a lot of people from all over the world in helping them overcome some of the most incredibly difficult challenges with trichotillomania. And in working with these people, one of the things we've noticed is that most of our clients report they tend to pull in relatively predictable times and places. It's become kind of a pattern for them. It's like whenever they show up there, that's when they do it. So for example, the teenager that starts pulling her hair about an hour into her homework every day. Or the Navy test pilot that pulls his eyebrows on Sundays, his only day off, relaxing with Netflix, in about the middle of his third movie in a row. Or the teenager that comes home from school, a stressful day at school, and goes to her bedroom to relax now by listening to music and by pulling her hair. And see, if you're one of these people, this is probably a pretty frustrating pattern. No matter what you do or how much you want to change it, nothing seems to make a difference. And that, of course, is a big problem. But guess what? Hidden right in the midst of these very troublesome patterns are in fact the very seeds to the solution to this problem. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So let's start with the understanding that for everything we do or experience, there's a context to it. And for every context, there's a where, when, how, and how much to it. So for example, let's take the woman whose job, her work is, shall we say, rather tedious. Normally she's sitting down at her computer, the hours are dragging on, and now it's a couple hours after lunch, and there she is poring over these reports, and then, along about 2:30 or 3 o'clock every day, that's when she seems to notice the interest in pulling. Same pattern every day. So what's the pattern? Okay, so the where this is happening is her office, at her desk. When is maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours after lunch? How is sitting down, leaning forward, hands on the keyboard, or who knows, maybe her elbow on the side, How much is, staying glued to the computer for hours at a time without a break? So here's the interesting thing. See, all this adds up to a kind of procedural recipe for disaster. Doing the same things the same way tends to lead to the same results, and we wonder why we find ourselves in the same undesirable situations every day. But see, just like any other recipe, if you can change any part of this, doesn't matter what it is, you cannot possibly run the same patterns the same way anymore. And the more of these four elements you change, actually the harder it is to run those old patterns anymore. So for example, if this woman could do this same type of work in the morning instead of the afternoon, that would absolutely make a difference. Or if she did maybe a different kind of work in the afternoon than she normally does, that would also make a difference. If instead of sitting down at her desk, she could get a stand-up desk, if you've ever seen one of those, and standing up, particularly after lunch, is really good for you. If she could work at a stand-up desk instead of sitting down while doing this work, that would absolutely shake things up for her. If instead of working on this stuff for perhaps hours on end, if she were to schedule regular breaks at certain times, say every 45 minutes or so, for even 10 or 15 minutes at a time, that would absolutely shake things up for her. Do you see how this works? We're breaking this woman's pattern. We're doing things differently, and as a result of that, her brain isn't going to quite know when it's time to pull quite as easily as it used to. Let's take another example. Let's take the young person who comes home from school, gets a bite to eat, and then goes to her room, and now it's time to relax by putting on her headphones and listening to music, and by pulling her hair. Well, what if instead of going into her room to relax after school, she took her stuff into the living room or the family room? If instead of lying down to relax in her bedroom, she might sit up at a table to enjoy her music, or maybe open up her computer on her laptop and watch her favorite bands actually play their music on YouTube? What if she decides to take a break, even from this, every 20 minutes or so by getting up and taking a walk outside for a few minutes? You see, all these changes in how a person operates is going to essentially disrupt some of that old mental programming that used to lead to pulling under more predictable conditions. So how can you use this information? How can you turn this into something actionable for you? Well, here's how you can start. To begin with, maybe you ask yourself where and when this hair pulling habit seems to be the most troublesome for you. Once you've decided what that specific situation is, literally write down the following. Number 1, where does this happen in terms of physical location? Number 2, when does this happen? What time of day or night is this going on? Number 3, what exactly am I doing? What activity am I usually engaged in when the pulling or the interest or urge to pull starts? And number 4, how am I usually engaged in whatever the activity is? For example, am I sitting down or standing up? Are my papers to the left side of me or the right side? Do I have an elbow resting on a side table on one side or the other? Once you have a written list describing the what, wheres, when, and hows of the old pattern, now make a new list on which you're going to brainstorm how you can start doing all this differently. And the more differently, the better. So if you were doing this during the day, consider doing whatever activity that is at night. If you're usually tired by the time you get to this activity, consider doing it when you're feeling more fresh, more energized. If you're doing it inside the house or the office, consider doing it outside if at all possible. Generally speaking, the more you shake up those old patterns, the easier it's going to be to dispense with the unwanted baggage that used to be the inevitable byproduct of those patterns of mental programming. So let me know what you think, okay? Go ahead and hit the reply button below and share with me a little bit about where you've been challenged most and what might have come to mind during the course of this video about something you can start doing differently right away that's probably going to have a huge positive impact for you. If you're watching this video at our Facebook community page, do feel free to like and share us. Also, leave a comment for us. Ask questions of us or of others. Facebook is such a great place for dialogue and discourse among like-minded folks. We'd love to hear from you. Let's get a conversation going. If you're watching this video at our blog site, feel free to leave your comments and questions there as well. And you can do the same thing at our YouTube channel. And by the way, we'd love it if you'd be good enough to like and share our videos with others. You'll probably be doing them a favor. And then, of course, you can always feel free to visit us at our website at www.TRICH-FREE.com. There's a lot of great information there, a lot more about what we do and how we do it, and lots of ways to contact us through our website. And if you're interested, there's a bunch of success stories over there from clients who've already experienced the kind of life-changing breakthroughs we keep talking about. If you think you could perhaps benefit from some inspiration, maybe a way to break free from the unfortunately all too common, kind of doom and gloom scenarios painted by most of the folks who work in this business and who write about it online, head over there and check out some of those really wonderful stories of hope and inspiration. Again, I'm Robert Mantell with the Trichotillomania Relief Specialist. Thanks again for watching. I hope you and your family enjoy an amazing trick-free week.